All right, today we're gonna do a drive and ride review and a mile per gallon loop, all on the new 2025 Ford Explorer ST. And I'll give you my impressions of how I compare this to the last generation Explorer ST that we own. So let's do this. So we just did a little bit of an interior and exterior overview versus the 2024 model on the Ford Explorer here a few weeks ago. Today we're going to be focusing on our ride and drive impressions of the new Ford Explorer ST. As I mentioned in the prior videos, the things I really like about the exterior, this thing has grown on me a lot. This like little bit of a LED that goes across the rear, it modernizes it and it really gives it a little bit different contour that I really like. The side profile is really pretty much identical. And then you obviously have the front fascia upgrade, which looks really nice. It makes it a little more aggressive. I like it actually. I don't really see a downside. The one thing I do miss is I don't see the little Ford or the Explorer emblem on the side of the headlight, but otherwise I think it looks nicer. So we're gonna first start, I'm gonna do a real easy, wide open throttle kind of, I've let the engine warm up and whatnot before we started today, but I just wanna see how this thing feels and drives before we do our mile per gallon loop. As I mentioned, I have another video where I did my first impressions of the interior and exterior. I'll include a link down below if you want to check that out. Today's video focuses all on ride and drive impression. Let's see how the startup sequence is. I like the look of the Explorer in the dash area as well as the Explorer logo in the center console. So let's start it up and see the sequence upon startup. Pops right up to your maps. So this is a little bit different design. You can tell the positioning is different than the prior gen, and I think it looks a lot nicer. It doesn't have that like iPad set look as the prior generation had. And I hate to use the word prior generation because technically it's still the same generation vehicle. It's just got a refresh. You'll notice right away the operating system is different, just kind of the controls, the menus, everything seems pretty quick. I'm seeing this looks very similar to like some of the new GM vehicles. You can see your different HVAC controls. Here's your heating and cooling. I've got it on auto right now. Let's see, auto on, and so there's 3 different auto. You have auto low, medium, and high. And then here's your HVAC controls. Now I want to see if this works the same as the navigator. Kind of shows you where the air is coming through in those areas. Now let's see. We go to face. Now, can you move any of these? No. So that's one feature on the Nautilus. You can kind of touch screen your different positioning of your vents. Not needed, but kind of cool. But it shows you where the air is flowing now from the bottom. This is your recirc. I got that off. We're just going to put it back on the face. We're going to turn this off and put it back to face on auto. 73. You can tell you've got your rear defrost, front defrost. Now we go to our seat controls. You can see you have your heated steering wheel. Automatic seat, so that's a new feature that was not on prior gen. You got heated seat and cooled seat. I'm gonna run cooled seat today. As I mentioned, not gonna have much focus on this for interior layout because it's a lot different and I spent a lot of time in this in another video, but you can see most of your controls are now built into display. The only thing you really have down below is your audio controls. You've got your parking assist, you've got your camera controls right there. Stability control, and I think this is your auto hold. So when you let your foot off the brake, you'll notice transmissions in drive. I'm not moving. I'm gonna hit the gas. There we go. We're moving. Now I'm gonna put my foot back on the brake. I'm gonna let my foot off the brake. Notice that little icon right there in the green. That is auto hold. I'm gonna hit the gas right now. Watch. Goes off and we're moving. So that's a safety feature. It's kind of cool. I think some people like it and some don't, but at least Ford gives you the option to do that. We went through our startup sequence. Now I'm gonna go start back of where we do our mile per gallon tests with most of our vehicles so we have a fair and accurate loop so that we can compare just to other tests and other vehicles. So I'm in normal mode right now. Let's see what this thing sounds and feels like. Sounds awesome, and the pull is great. I don't know if they're piping sound into the interior, but this thing sounds great. It's like you hear a lot of intake noise. It really sets you back in the seat. I've mentioned this in several other videos. The 3-liter EcoBoost is my favorite EcoBoost. It's got the feeling of the 2.7, a real free revving engine, but it feels like strong, like the 3.5. I know the 3.5 on paper puts down more torque and more horsepower, but the playfulness of the 3-liter is my favorite of the 3 V6 EcoBoost. Before we start our fuel economy drive loop, I wanted to put it in sport mode just to kind of get a feel of how does the steering feel, the dampening, the brakes, transmission shifting, the engine, and to see if they pump in the drive mode any exhaust sounds. So I'm going to give it a little throttle. Really good power, no question. Feels much more spirited than what I just did with the normal like eco mode. So let's we'll try to get an opportunity to give it a little more throttle. Thing sounds great. I didn't really get on it too hard, but it's a very spirited, fun engine to drive. You can tell there is no delay in power. When you step into this, I mean, it's immediate. Downshift, power, sound, intake, exhaust, sounds really great. Okay, I want to thank Bob Maxxey here in Howell, Michigan for allowing me to do this review for you guys today on the 2025 Explorer ST, and Josh Wisniewski. I'll put their contact information down below. They're helping us get this content for you guys today. And so now we're going to move to the next part of the review where I like to do the mile per gallon loop. If you watch my channel, you're familiar with this, but I typically, if the vehicle has a drive mode for fuel economy, I like to put it in like an eco mode. And the whole goal is I try to do as equal of amount of acceleration, times of the day, if I'm doing comparisons. And the whole point of today is let's just see how this thing does. I'm gonna drive it normal. We're gonna drive normal speed limits. We have a little bit of city/rural driving and then highway. All right, so let's reset our fuel economy for this trip and let's go. So I'm using moderate acceleration. You can kind of see getting up to around 2,500, 2,800 RPMs. Nice ride. What I like about the Explorer ST, I haven't spent a lot of time driving any of the other trim levels just because when we purchased our Explorer ST a few years ago, I wanted the ST for a few reasons. I wanted the sporty feeling in an Explorer. I'm not a big fan of body roll in SUVs, and the ST had a really good handling. It feels nice and tight, doesn't feel sloppy around the corners. I wanted a little bit better braking, and I wanted the 3-liter EcoBoost. This is a motor that I've always been impressed with. Fuel economy, performance, it's always felt pretty decent. And we went with it, and we had it, gosh, almost 2 years. Never had a problem with the engine, powertrain. It was a good vehicle, and it actually netted us pretty decent fuel economy, especially when we're doing road trips. And it's good because it's a nice looking mid-size SUV with 3 rows. There's a lot of things I still really like about the Ford vehicles, like the Ford Pass app. I'm thankful that they're not charging to use that app like some of the other manufacturers. It's got nice features, and you're not paying a monthly subscription like many other companies out there. And I hope they keep that up for the foreseeable future. One of the other things I want to enjoy on this trip today are the massaging seats. I just turned those on. So I had a 2021 Ford Explorer ST. Same motor, very similar car, except this is the new refresh model. A little bit different seating, a little bit different technology. This has got the Blue Cruise. There's a lot of really nice refinements. It's definitely nowhere near what I would say a new vehicle, but it's got a lot of nice refinements. And today we're gonna kind of see how do these refinements feel. The first thing I notice is, and it's not any different than the older model, but I really like the steering wheel. It's a really nice feeling in your hands. Leather feels nice size. It's got the flat bottom on the side. Got your paddle shifters down below. Steering wheel controls are laid out nice. Got the ST with the nice trim work around it. You can see right there, that is your Blue Cruise for your hands-free driving. The display is not a lot different than the 2020 to 23 model. This is your big difference, and then some of the other interior. And as I mentioned, I'll put a link down below of the full interior overview of this vehicle. You can feel right now, or you can see our RPMs are at 0. We have currently, there we go, start stop is engaged. Very smooth. I don't notice anything abrupt with the start stop. Feels good. Transmission shifting feels good. We'll get on the highway now and see how it goes through the gears under moderate acceleration. As I mentioned, we're in the eco drive mode. So I'm getting a really nice massage right now. Can feel it in the lower back, and this is in the full recovery mode. So I'm gonna set the cruise at 70 like we always do. So we've got the hands-free driving right now, hands-free going around the corners. Pretty darn cool, right? If you notice, it's gonna tell you, watch the road. It's looking at your eyes at all times. This is pretty common technology across the different manufacturers. If I don't look, if I put something in front of my eyes or face and it can't read my eyes, it's gonna tell you to regain control. But the cool thing about this is you can be hands-free, and it's driving us down the road. I mean, how awesome is that? If you drive an interstate a lot, I just love this technology. Very, very cool for people that do a lot of highway driving. All right, let's see what our decibel reading's at. Looks like about 69 decibel. I'll look back and just try to confirm, but that's pretty consistently with what I've seen, especially in our roads in Michigan. If you notice, there's lots of repairs. That all adds noise into the interior. I've also got the sunroof shade open, which actually makes it a little bit louder. I will close the sunshade now. Okay, sunshade now closed. I'd say 1.5 to 2 decibels less. You can notice though, as I speak, watch the decibel meter go up. Also, you notice when you hit a bump, you'll see it as you hit a bump, an expansion joint, it adds about 2 dB. So that's where, you know, when people give decibel meter readings, that's why I typically don't like to share it. Depending on where you take your sound, down here, up here, you could see 3 to 5 decibel meter reading difference. So take the data for what it's worth, but at least I'll show it to you. We're going to get off at the halfway point. So far, I mean, it's a really nice driving SUV. This is a vehicle that if you're not wanting a big full-size SUV, but you know, you do want 3 rows, it's a really comfortable vehicle to drive. It's fun, it's sporty. I've always been impressed by the ST ever since they went to the new platform, the rear-wheel drive. It's a much more fun, enjoyable vehicle to drive than the older Explorer. So we're getting back on the highway now, and we will see how it does on the other side of the highway for fuel economy and just kind of overall comfort. Here's your instantaneous fuel economy at 70 miles an hour. Our average right now is really good, but our instantaneous is near 30 miles per gallon. You can see it pretty consistent, really, really good. I'm gonna say 28 to 30 mile per gallon range. You can tell it's in Blue Cruise when it says hands-free on the left-hand side. Okay, so we're gonna end the highway loop. So far, what are my impressions of highway driving? I really like driving this thing a lot. I'd like to pick one up or something like this for myself just because I do a lot of highway interstate driving. It's so smooth. Yet what I like about it is some SUVs just feel so big and lethargic and not really enjoyable to drive. This thing's a blast. It's got great power, feels good, good performance, looks great, nice interior. I mean, hands-free driving, massaging seats in a comfortable vehicle that looks good. And actually, considering today's pricing, it's not terrible. And I know they've got some rebates and stuff going on these. It's, you know, it's still a ton of money. I won't even argue everything's so expensive now in the last 3 or 4 years, but it's still a really nice vehicle, and I haven't felt one weird shift in trans. Motor feels good. Steering, all the feedback in the steering wheel feels good. I don't notice any vibration, nothing in the seat, nothing in the pedals. Throttle feel, brake feel, I would say actually the brake, the one thing I've noticed on all the STs, they've got a very aggressive brakes. I mean, they're really strong. I mean, that's kind of the whole part of it. It's a Ford performance vehicle, so they want to put really good brakes on it. And you can tell it's got some pretty strong binders on it. Overall, no weird noises. The sunroof, that's one thing I'm really critical about on all these new panoramic sunroofs. Not a fan of them. I think they look awesome, but they're temperamental. With that being said, it feels like some of these manufacturers might have finally gotten their panoramics figured out. This one, I didn't notice any squeaks, rattles, noises. I mean, time will tell as far as how it will be with, you know, being waterproof and whatnot, but overall, it feels pretty good. These massaging seats feel awesome too. I like that. Here, I'm gonna hit my massaging seat again, and I can change the different settings. I can go circular cushion, I can go upper rolling, I can go lower. I'm gonna do relax recovery. I think that does butt. Yep, it does butt and back. All right, we pulled back into Bob Maxxey. Let's see where we're at for our fuel economy for the trip. There we go, 22.5 miles per gallon over 17.5 miles. All right, let's go over the window sticker of this specific vehicle. This is a Rapid Red Metallic. This is a 400A package vehicle. This has the 21-inch aluminum wheels with the 275/45/21 all-season tire, blue cruise. It comes equipped with a 90-day trial, twin panel sunroof, for a total of 61,290 miles. So a lot of people are not aware of this. One of the cool things about the Explorer ST being a Ford performance vehicle, you actually get the opportunity to take a day of the Ford Performance Driving School. I've actually never done that, but I heard it's a lot of fun. So that's something kind of neat. All right, so what is my takeaway on the 2025 Ford Explorer ST? Well, I'd say I'm impressed. It was a nice vehicle before. They just refined it and made it a little bit nicer. It drives nice. I love the idea of having the hands-free driving for those people doing a lot of interstate driving. Fuel economy, 22.5 miles per gallon, not too bad. We had air conditioning on the whole time, massaging seats, cooled seats. Probably even gonna get better as it breaks in. Power, fuel economy, handling, brakes, I felt nothing out of the ordinary. It seems like they took a good vehicle and just improved it. This is a very competitive space in the midsize SUVs with 3-row. One of the reasons I like the Explorer ST specifically is for the fun factor. And that fun factor with a little bit better, sportier suspension, a little bit sportier tires, a little bit sportier engine, and just some of the calibration, it really does work well and play nice into this vehicle. It's sporty looking and at least pretty decent. And if you do your homework, you can actually get a pretty good price on buying one as well. And how about that? It's got some red calipers front and rear. Hey, if you liked the video, feel free to like down below. And if you do like the video a lot, feel free to subscribe, turn those notifications on. I'm trying to get new content out every week. Once again, I want to thank Bob Maxxey in Howell, Michigan, and Josh Wisniewski for helping us get you this vehicle for a review. Thanks for watching.